I don't think you're fit to hand the bureau. But here's the thing, Mr. Patel. I think you're not going to be around long. I think this might be your last oversight hearing. Because as much as you supplicate yourself to the will of Donald Trump and not the Constitution of the United States of America, Donald Trump has shown us in his first term and in this term, he is not loyal to people like you. He will cut you loose. This may be the last time I have a hearing with you because I don't think you're long for your job. But I'm going to tell you this, I pray for you. I pray for you that you can step up and defend your oath, defend the Constitution, and do a much better job of defending this country. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
What is going on with y'all, man? It is Black Balloon, and I'm coming back with another video, man, so y'all already know what's going on, all right, y'all. This is just one big show, right? I just thought I would add that in the beginning with that senator going back and forth with Kash Patel, Bug-Eyed Patel, director of the FBI, former podcaster, whatever you want to call him. I mean, this is a shit show, right? But look, I saw the text messages, right? We got to read the text messages from the alleged shooter, Tyler Robinson, and his supposed lover, his trans lover. Text messages seem fake. They almost seem AI generated, or as if someone wrote them and just put it out so we could have something to see that makes this personal and gives us a reason or a motive to why he did what he did, right? I want to go over those in a second. But first, I want to show y'all this clip from the hearings that they had today. And this comes from another senator that put out some information for the world to see. And it is about an FBI operation called Arctic Frost. And just so happens that Charlie Kirk's, foundation, or whatever you want to call it, turning point, was a part of this Arctic operation, or at least was considered like some sort of a threat, right? I'm going to let y'all hear the senator talk about it first, and maybe I can read over this article I found about it as well. But this goes into, the rigging of the election back in 2020, Trump, certain Republican parties, all kinds of stuff. But this was an FBI operation called Arctic Frost and seemed to have direct aim at certain political groups. And I find it interesting that they chose to put this stuff out after Charlie Kirk's assassination. Now, the timing is interesting. It's either one or two things. Once again, they're trying to just throw stuff out there, just like in the last video that we talked about. Give us something else to think about. Oh, this is why he was actually assassinated, Or, maybe this is more of why things really happened the way that it did. Because it didn't happen for no reason. Whether you want to believe this is a psyop, it didn't happen at all. He didn't even get shot, or he got shot from a right angle behind him. That he didn't even get shot from the roof. A lot of different theories, right? Pages showing, their own theory, their own proof that the bullet came from behind him to the right. They even show a still shot where you could possibly see a bullet entering the right side lower jaw area and exiting out on the other side, which was what we saw on the video. Bunch of different theories, right? Also, there's footage out there of a guy taking down the camera and taking the SD card out 5 minutes after he was allegedly shot. This is before the scene was cleared or taped off or anything. He actually uses the chair that Charlie Kirk was sitting in as a footstool to take the camera down, take the SD card out, which is the camera that would have gave us very clear footage of where that shot came from and possibly even more, because I think we only have 4 official camera angles. But I'm only saying that because there's just so much. I'm trying to relate it to, like, the whole chaos theory that we were talking about yesterday. But that was real. A guy really did step into the scene, the chair, and all kind of stuff, take the camera down before the scene was even cleared. So I'm going to show y'all this clip because I just thought it was interesting that they would choose to put this out right now. And he specifically says that he wanted the world to hear it. But one thing I will say before playing this clip, there's a reason behind this. It's not just a distraction. Like a lot of people say, this is a distraction for something bigger. No, you don't just do this on camera. If we want to say this is completely real, he's actually really gone. You don't just do this just to veer us away from an entirely different topic. No. It doesn't work that way. This is definitely something. It happened for a reason, and it's not just to distract us from something else.
Charlie Kirk presidency 15 years from now?
Yeah.
No. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
enjoying myself, but this is going to get really nasty. Everyone listen to this. I just hope you understand. They're going to be coming after us. They're going to be following us in the middle of the night. They're going to be breaking into our houses. You think I'm joking. They
No,
are going
it's
to
gonna
be
happen.
violent. That you will not be able to walk the streets of the MAGA hat without your physical health be put in jeopardy. And I hope it doesn't get that way. I hope that this clip gets unearthed and everything's like wonderful. I hope that the country comes together and we have a beautiful Unitarian healing moment.
I mean, I see a lot of people say that, but you have to ask yourself, what is the something else? There ain't nothing else going on. I mean, they already voted for the Epstein thing right under our nose the day that he was assassinated. So if anything, that was a distraction for that. But other than that, there's nothing else going on. This happened for a reason. Charlie Kirk is in the midst of this for a reason. The FBI, Cash Patel, Trump, all of this stuff. It is for a reason. But let's go ahead and get into this clip about the FBI operation, Arctic Frost. And we're going to come back and read over some of those text messages that are highly suspicious. All right? Check this out, y'all.
Arctic Frost was the FBI case opened and approved by antitrust Trump FBI agent Tebow. Arctic Frost then became Jack Smith's elector case against then citizen Trump and now President Trump. These new records show that Arctic Frost was much broader than just an electoral matter. The case was expanded to Republican organizations. Some examples of the group that Ray FBI sought to place under political investigation included the Republican National Committee, Republican Attorney General's Association, and various Trump political groups. In total, 92 Republican targets, including Republican groups and Republican-linked individuals, were placed under investigative scope of Arctic Frost. On that political list was one of Charlie Kirk's groups, Turning Point USA. In other words, Arctic Frost wasn't just a case to politically investigate Trump. It was the vehicle by which partisan FBI agents and Department of Justice prosecutors could achieve their partisan ends and improperly investigate the entire Republican political apparatus. So today, Senator Johnson and I are making these records public for the entire country to see, and I hope a lot of people are interested in seeing what government can do when various agencies have a political agenda.
He just told you he wants the world to see what the government can do when these certain agencies have a political agenda. And he's basically talking about the FBI and the Arctic Frost investigation, Arctic Frost FBI operation, that it wasn't just an electoral matter about the 2020 election. It was also charging Trump, with the whole hoarding national security documents. And the investigation pursued lines of inquiry about purportedly false election fraud claims, fake elector schemes, frivolous lawsuits, financial fraud, and pressure on state officials to flip vote counts in Trump's favor. So this whole Charlie Kirk thing has a lot of different angles to it. And, his own group was being investigated by the FBI, the DOJ, in matters that most people wouldn't think of to have anything to do with his death. Moving on real quick to the text messages, right? And I also want to play a small piece from the updated live today that Candace Owens did, because she made a good point about something that was said in these messages, right? Here's my thought. Some of you may have seen these already. So the messages start off saying, drop what you are doing. Look under my keyboard. The roommate says, what? You're joking, right? Then the guy says, Tyler Robinson, I'm still okay, my love, but I'm stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet, which is a city, Orem. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I gotta grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I'm sorry to involve you. Then it says, you aren't the one who did it, right? He says, I am. I'm sorry. Then the roommate said, I thought they caught the person. He goes on to say, no, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. Why? Why did I do it? Yeah, I had enough of his hatred, and he's talking about Charlie. Some hate can be negotiated out. If I'm able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully, they have moved on. Haven't seen anything about them finding it. First, this just doesn't make sense. I mean, the guy is using commas. It's in order. This is not a frantic text, revealing the fact that you just did one of the craziest assassinations in the past couple of decades. I mean, nothing about this exchange, as he put it, makes sense. Mind you, at the end, he said, delete this exchange. It didn't say delete this text thread like a young person would talk who's 22 years old. He seems to be more worried about the fact that it's his grandpa's gun than actually getting caught. He's worried about returning the gun to his dad or his grandpa more than actually what he's being accused of. Then out of nowhere, they just insert this, since Trump got into office, my dad has been pretty diehard MAGA. I mean, they literally wrote this or used ChatGPT or basically, arranged these messages to fuel the narrative. That's what it is. Like, these messages are coming out of left field to fuel what they've told you happened. One of the messages talk about the engraving bullets. One of the messages say, only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. I mean, he literally is telling everything that they put out into the news before they discovered these messages.
The rifle to your father. As soon as I got to my vehicle, I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. I don't know if it had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. I worry about prints. I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits. Didn't have the ability or time to bring it with. I might have to abandon it and hopefully they don't find prints. How the F will I explain losing it to my old man? Only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. What? You're worried about explaining losing the rifle to your father, not worried that you left the rifle and therefore it's obviously going to be found out. Like the only thing that you left was the murder weapon. This is weird. This chain is weird to me. It's weird to me that we don't know what time. I don't know what he means. Where is he stuck here, guys? Do you have a clue here? I'm stuck in a REM for a little while longer. It shouldn't be long until I can come home. Is that a typo? I should have asked you guys. Okay, that's the town. Okay, that's the town. I'm stuck here for a little while longer. It shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I gotta grab my rifle still. So is this happening during lockdown? He tells him to check under and to see, check under quickly and see, and I took care of it, and he's where? And now he's giving him an accounting of exactly what's taken place, which means if this is right after and they're still in lockdown, he's monitoring the situation? Because this is going to give us a timeline, whether they tell us when these messages happened or not. The fact that he already knows that they grabbed some crazy old dude and that they also interrogated someone in similar clothing, we're going to be able to go back and plot exactly when that happened, or at least when the public was informed. Because this whole correspondence is very strange to me. It's very strange to me. He then is even more explicit, talk about trying to cover your tracks, but then explicitly texting everything to your lover. He says, the only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. Remember how I was engraving bullets? The effing messages are mostly a meme. If I see notices bulge on Fox News, I might have a stroke. All right, I'm gonna have to leave it. That really effing sucks.
Now, that part I was questioning as well, because they don't show the times of the text messages, which is obviously for a reason, but it's very important that we see those times. Why? Because it would explain how the hell he supposedly knew they arrested this old man, and then also arrested someone else who said looked like a 25-year-old but ended up being another old man. He was talking about that. Somehow, some way, he knew about that. As if he was scrolling on his phone, watching live updates of what was happening. And that same old man, George Zinn, which is oddly close to George Zimmerman, he falsely claimed that he shot Charlie and that he was a decoy for the real shooter. But recently, he just got hit with child you-know-what charges for having it on his phone. Says he's now accused of keeping graphic photos of little ones in his phone. Man is 71 years old and got charged with 4 counts of sexual exploitation of little ones just Monday, after investigators found more than 20 images of little ones as young as 5 years old, at least partially naked and posing in a very S type of way. The old man actually admitted that he gets S gratification from viewing and sharing little one abuse, and that his preferred victim age is in between 5 and 12 years old. Think about this. Look at this. Now, do I doubt that this guy engages in this stuff? No. But it's also shedding light on what actually take place in high levels of government. Just like that Charlie Kirk clip where he was talking about Jeffrey Epstein. Remember when he said Jeffrey Epstein is basically used by all of these agencies, to basically get info and get blackmail on higher ups doing things with 13-year-olds so they would be forced to do what we want them to do. It just seems so fitting for a story like this of a man who was first accused of this for this to come out. It took this in order for them to find that he was actually a sick, disgusting dude. And remember, it goes all the way back to that Tim Tebow video where America is like #1 in sharing, producing all of that stuff. all of the little one abuse. Us, Russia, and China were top 3 in sharing it, producing it, watching it. These people are sick. And we even get a piece of it with the Charlie Kirk case. So I thought that was very interesting, y'all. That'll go ahead and wrap up this episode, man. I just realized, I was like, you know what? I might as well just continue covering this because, hey, you know, the regular stuff we do on the channel, we do all the time. You know, we might as well, you know, run it up on this topic and dig as much as we can while we got the chance, right? So with that being said, y'all let me know what y'all think about this one. It's Black Balloon, and I'm going to see y'all soon, all right? I'm out.